And I'll give the call to the member for Goldstone.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, it's a wonderful privilege to be able to get up and speak on this motion, because coastal erosion is one of the most important issues that we confront as a nation. Our bodies of waterways are critical for the future sustainability and health of our nation, as well as, of course, for the future health and sustainability of the planet. And one of the things that we, of course, often forget is that cities are logically based, and of course all of Australia's capital cities are based on major waterways, and for very good and logical reasons, because of the basis of their settlement, but also, of course, because they have the direct connections often to direct water supply. And, Deputy Speaker, at the last election I went to the people of Goldstone and made it crystal clear that the health and well-being, particularly of our main body of water, Port Phillip, in the great state of Victoria, was something that I was going to fight for as part of improving the lifestyle of our community, the sustainability of our community and the health of our community, because too often the health of Port Phillip, Deputy Speaker, has fallen by the wayside through a tussle between local authorities, the state government and the federal government because of issues of ownership and responsibility, because of a lack of legal clarity. But critically, the only people who have suffered are those people who live by it, and the only body of water that suffers because of it is Port Phillip itself. It is the jewel of Melbourne. It is central to our livability. It is our greatest natural asset in our community, and it's critical. And Goldstone faces many challenges directly around coastal erosion. In fact, Goldstone has almost all of the cliffs along Port Phillip from Melbourne on the easterly side until you get down to the federal electorate of Dunkley, rising up around Brighton, going across Hampton and Sandringham and Black Rock, and then descending down towards the end of Beaumaris and into Mentone and Mentone Beach. So coastal erosion is critical, and coastal erosion is a critical part of the platform that I was elected on only a few months ago. And as part of the last federal election, we actually made commitments to provide up to $50,000 for the Black Rock Foreshore Masterplan, which involves 3 distinct proposals and projects, including removing coastal weed species and revegetating these areas with native plant species, installing new fencing at existing informal lookout points. And of course, coastal erosion comes not just from water, but also comes from the top, and particularly as a consequence of runoff from Beach Road, as well as from the behaviour of well-meaning citizens enjoying the view, but also needing to be mindful of the impact they're having and the footprint they're having on their local environment. And also developing works to protect new plantings and provide additional stability to the cliffs through process of revegetation. And we funded the City of Bayside to take responsibility for these roles, and we look forward to them delivering them throughout the processes to come. It wasn't just more money to Black Rock Foreshore Masterplan of $50,000. We also provided up to $50,000 for the Sandringham Beach and Gardens Masterplan, which involves increasing the amount of staged revegetation in consultation with local community groups, and there are many who are concerned about the foreshore and its health, and I'd like to pay particular regard to the Sandringham Foreshore Association, among others, for their perseverance and their diligence in taking care of our local community, and they know that I'm a good friend of their cause. And of course the Black Rock and Sandringham Conservation Societies. We're also installing new fencing to reduce the impact caused by off-track walking and improve safety during future weed control and revegetation efforts in difficult to access areas, as well as developing detailed revegetation plans which aim to establish long-term sustainable and manageable planting in critical areas around Sandringham. And it's because of the excellent work of community organisations, of volunteers in the council, but also working together with the re-elected Morrison government that has given these commitments that we've been able to do so. Sadly and tragically, at the last election, there were no such promises from the Labor Party about the care and health and well-being of Port Phillip. They made no commitment to the Sandringham community. They made no commitment to the Black Rock community. They made no commitment to Beaumaris or Brighton or Hampton or anywhere else. And this is ultimately why they will always struggle in Goldstone to represent our community, because they neither understand it nor fully appreciate the consequences, and that's why it's so critically important that we're a strong voice. And of course it sits across a backdrop of many measures that this government is taking around the health and well-being of our water systems, around the world. And I know the Prime Minister recently, when he was at the United Nations, extolled the specific virtues and focus on our focus and making sure we have healthy waterways for the future well-being of the planet. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.